Our Bible story today is the story of Ruth. What's that, Francis John? Have I ever moved home? Yes, I've lived in 15 different houses. Wow. Were any of them in a different country? Yes, I've moved from England to Wales. Well, now you live in Wales, you have been learning some important Welsh words. That's good. What can you say? Mail. Mail? What does that mean? Honey. I should have known. Well, in our Bible story today, we hear how because Ruth loved her mother-in-law Naomi, she was willing to go with her to a new home. Are you ready for our story today? The story of Ruth.
Long ago, during the time of Judges, there was a famine. Naomi and her husband Elimelech and their two sons, Mahlon and Chilion, left the town of Bethlehem where they lived and moved to the country of Moab. Mahlon and Chilion married two women from Moab, Orpah and Ruth. Later, Naomi's husband Elimelech died, and Mahlon and Chilion also. So Naomi was left with Orpah and Ruth. Naomi decided to leave Moab and go back to Bethlehem. Orpah and Ruth wanted to go with her. But Naomi said to them, "You have been very kind to me, and I pray that God will help each of you find a husband and a new home." Naomi kissed her daughters-in-law, and they all started crying. Then Orpah said goodbye. But Ruth said, "Let me go with you. Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you sleep, I will sleep. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God." So Ruth went with Naomi back to Bethlehem. It was harvest time in Bethlehem. Ruth and Naomi were very poor, so every day Ruth went out into the fields to pick the corn that had been left behind. The fields belonged to Boaz. He saw how hard Ruth worked and heard how kind she was to Naomi. He told his workers to leave plenty of corn for Ruth. When Naomi heard all that Boaz had done for Ruth, she realized how much he must like her. She had a plan. "Would you like to marry Boaz?" she asked Ruth. The plan worked, and Ruth and Boaz were married. Ruth and Boaz had a baby boy, which made Naomi so happy. They named the baby Obed. He grew up and had a son called Jesse, and Jesse became the father of David, who became a great king.
In our Bible story today, we heard how Ruth was willing to move to a new country and go with Naomi back to Naomi's home in Bethlehem. Ruth was willing to change her life and make Naomi's people, the Israelites, her people, and learn to worship God as they did. In return, Ruth became one of the Bible heroes. One of the books of the Bible is named after her, and she can also be found at the beginning of the book of Matthew as part of Jesus' family tree. I wonder, have you ever moved somewhere different? Maybe it was a new home or school, or a different change. How did it feel? What did you take with you, and what did you have to leave behind? You may like to close your eyes and think about that now. I'm going to say a prayer, and if you'd like to make it your prayer too, please say amen at the end after me. Dear God, thank you that you were with Ruth and helped her to make a new life. Help me to know that when things in my life change, that you are always there and will help me. Amen. What's that, Francis John? You think it must be really difficult having to leave things behind and start again. But if you ever did, it would help to know that God never changes and will always be with you. Yes, and it really does help. Well, thank you for joining us today for the story of Ruth. We look forward to you joining us again soon. Goodbye and God bless.